The events take their origin in the lottery center. As soon as the guy entered the building through the door, the employees immediately recognized him and congratulated Mr. Fan again on his big lottery win. The guy won 10 million and the employee handed him the check, but the look on the guy's face scared him. As it turned out, this was the fourth time the guy had won the top prize in the lottery. The lottery center employee asked the guy not to wear such a scary mask anymore when he comes to collect his prize, because the guy scares people. Fan apologized to the employee and then said that it's all because of the process of accumulating luck. He notices that if he is unlucky, other people will become unlucky too. Thanks to the mask, the guy could feel safe. After picking up his check, the guy left the lottery center. After walking a little bit away from the lottery center, the guy took off his mask, which was scaring the others. The guy's name is Fan Xiao, and thanks to his ability, he can accumulate his luck. If he can accumulate a lot of luck, he might get lucky 100% of the time if he can harness all the luck at once. Because of his ability, he was able to win the lottery 4 times and gain financial freedom. In order to win the last lottery, he had to accumulate luck for a month. The price of winning was constant encounters with pickpockets, thieves, human traffickers, and car accidents throughout the month. Accumulating luck for an entire month resulted in a huge amount of bad luck. He wondered what would happen if he accumulated luck for 2 months. 2 months later, the guy was jogging in the park, exercising his body. Just at that moment, someone incredibly hungry was already watching him from the bushes. The man could no longer contain his hunger and tried to pounce on Fan Xiao to eat him. The guy immediately realized that it was one of the evolved in front of him. Lately, he had guessed that a setback was about to befall him, but he didn't realize that it would be this big. However, the guy was prepared for the failure to catch him off guard, so he pulled out a pepper spray and sprayed the attacking man in the face with it. Even the hungry man could not resist the pepper spray. His eyes immediately glazed over and he fell to the ground screaming in pain. Fan Xiao then took out the rope he had and tied the man up. He then immediately called the emergency line, reporting the attack. In the evening at the police station, the officer was making a report on Fan Xiao. The officer had seen the guy so often recently that he asked the guy how many times he had already been to the police station. As a law-abiding citizen, Fan Xiao confessed that so far he had managed to neutralize 47 criminals and write 112 reports. The officer was already even amused at the fact that the guy was having a lot of bad luck. He was sorry that with his talent for catching criminals, the guy never became a policeman. Then the officer still asked what kind of criminal the guy had caught this time. Fan Xiao immediately recalled the articles he had come across on the internet. The articles talked about how a girl went crazy and attacked an 80-year-old man. There was also an article about mass attacks on people and other articles. Fan Xiao admitted to the officer that the man who attacked him was very similar to the evolved that were talked about on the internet. The officer just exhaled tiredly and asked the guy not to talk nonsense, because evolved didn't exist, and everything written on the internet was just rumors. Fan Xiao decided not to continue the topic and agreed with the officer's opinion. However, in his mind, Fan Xiao understood the officer's opinion, and he wouldn't have believed in evolved either if he wasn't one of them. Returning home from the police station, the guy noticed that after accumulating luck for 2 months, he was attacked by evolved. If it wasn't for his vast experience, he could have easily gotten hit by a car. More than a month ago, several people had mutations in their bodies. Their food intake increased greatly, and their physical fitness increased dramatically. At the same time, they developed a strong desire to hunt all kinds of animals. People with such mutations became known as evolved. A husky dog happily ran up to the guy. However, in an instant, the dog was incredibly frightened by the guy's gaze. After all, at this moment, Fan Xiao felt that Uncle Li's husky dog was incredibly appetizing. He was incredibly hungry as he looked at the dog. However, he brushed aside the instinct that had arisen and tried his best to contain his hunger. Sitting at home on the couch behind his laptop, the guy recounted the problems of his current life. After becoming evolved, no matter how much regular food he ate, he could never completely get rid of the feeling of hunger that arose deep in his heart. He always felt like hunting living creatures. Opening his browser, he tried to search for information about evolved, but it turned out that all information related to evolved had been deleted. Kaneki Ken was well aware that perhaps indulging his appetite would soon lead to having to hunt humans. He didn't want to become a monster that would devour people. Holding the luck that he had managed to accumulate in 2 months, he was counting on that very luck to help him find a solution to the problem. As soon as he squeezed his luck in his hand in an attempt to use it, then suddenly all that luck formed an unfamiliar vortex to him. In the same instant, it was as if a system window appeared in front of him, on which he saw that the so-called system had detected evolved. The system congratulated the guy for being selected as a beta player for the game Evolution, which was developed by Ninth Dimension Corporation. The game was aimed at promoting the evolution of humanity, and the corporation was eager to see the guy's success on this path. The process of determining the path of evolution then began. The system picked the 3 most suitable playable classes for the guy, from which he had to choose only one. The 3 classes to choose from were Star of Bad Luck, Dark Knight, and Assassin. The system noted that the class determines the development of a guy's talent, so the game class had to be chosen wisely. Luck favored the guy and the decision found itself. The Star of Bad Luck class didn't appeal to him as it led to failure. The Dark Knight class looked too ridiculous for him. Not finding any other options, the guy decided to choose the Assassin class. The system immediately congratulated the guy on getting the Assassin game class. As a beta player, the guy had a chance to develop his talent, so the system asked the guy if he wanted to do it now. The system noted that although the talent was an extension of the class, from the lowest E rank to the highest A rank, there were hundreds of amazing ones that couldn't be counted. The system asked the player not to worry about getting the same talent as another player. In addition, the system asked the player to remember that luck was also part of a guy's strength. Fan Xiao rejoiced that luck was also part of his strength because he had just been saving up his luck for 2 months. The guy folded his hands in prayer while waiting for the talent given to him, hoping that he would get the best talent. Finally, the system informed him that he had received an A-rank talent. Angel of Slaughter, incomplete. The system decided to tell Fan Xiao that humans had both 7 virtues and 7 deadly sins. Since spiritual life is born out of negative emotions, Angel of Slaughter uses the 7 original sins as weapons to bury his enemies in a vortex of destruction. Right now, the Angel of Slaughter had 3 original sins awakened: lust, pride, and sloth. Lust. Angel of Slaughter takes shape based on a guy's lust. Angel of Slaughter's resilience is tied to the mental power of the guy. Even if Angel of Slaughter is destroyed, it can be rebuilt with the help of the guy's mental energy. Pride. The arrogance of the guy will give Angel of Slaughter the ability to remain invisible and immune. Sloth. Angel of Slaughter is too sloth to walk, as he prefers to fly or teleport. Currently, Angel of Slaughter can only move a maximum of 10 meters away from a guy. The summoning time is 30 seconds and the cooldown is 24 hours. After reading the talent description, Fan Xiao decided that he should consider the talent he received as a summoning talent. With negative emotions, he could summon Angel of Slaughter, who possessed the 7 original sins. Unfortunately, only 3 original sins were available to him right now, so he could use Angel of Slaughter as an invisible bodyguard that could teleport. His eyes twinkled with the upcoming benefits. After all, he had been accumulating his luck for 2 months, which meant he should become quite powerful. The system also informed that Fan Xiao, as a beta player, must participate in a qualifying dungeon and pass the game dungeon evaluation before he could become an official player. The system didn't give him much time to think, as it immediately started counting down from 10 seconds to 0. Before he could realize anything, he changed his nickname from Fan Xiao to Seal, which opened the selection section. At the same moment, he was teleported away. Soon, he appeared in a place that was unfamiliar to him. Weibei City had once been a thriving city, but a mutation had destroyed it and turned it into an abandoned lost city. As a result of the events that took place in the unruly city, a lot of monsters have settled in, always ready to organize a bloody feast to welcome tourists who came from far away. The sanctuary is the only place where the player can take shelter for the night. From 7:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m., the monsters sleep, so the system asks players not to make any noise, as it is very dangerous to wake them up. In addition, the dungeon boss refuses to let the tourists go. The dungeon task was to find the space-time door, G080110A1, then enter this door to complete the official player registration. Sitting on the ground, the guy tried to understand the situation he was in. He immediately noticed that the bag of self-defense tools had not been sent to the dungeon with him. Based on the information he received, he decided that the game was doing this for balance, as some of the players might show up with a rocket launcher, making the others unable to play. Looking around, he noticed a man in a suit and a guy talking nearby. The man noted that they seemed to be able to get the clues to the game. Fan Xiao categorized them as executive and college student at a glance. Executive reported that his player panel showed that he was participating in a dungeon selection. His assignment was to find the space-time door. He asked the college student if they had everything coming together on the assignment. The happy guy confirmed the executive's assumption. Looking in the other direction, Fan Xiao found 3 more beta players. Fan Xiao described them as a hooded guy, a middle-aged man, and a frail woman. The woman was clearly not dressed for going to the dungeon. She refused to believe that everything was real and thought that everything around her was just a dream. Also in the dungeon were high school students, 2 sisters. The younger sister did not understand what they should do now. The older sister tried to calm her down with the fact that she was next to her. Meanwhile, a middle-aged man was not wasting time and had already approached the frail woman and asked her not to worry because he would protect her. The woman was very frightened and asked the man not to approach her. Because of her fear, she backed up and fell down. The man immediately started drooling, looking at the girl. However, at that moment, the hooded guy intervened, asking the man to focus on the dungeon task at hand. The man started making excuses that he was mistaken for the wrong person, he just wanted to help the woman. He even asked the hooded guy to stay out of his business and not to touch him. The older sister noticed that there was a time clue in the bottom right corner of the game panel, and it was now 7:38 a.m., so they could leave the shelter. The hooded guy was wary, reminding the others that monsters didn't hibernate until 7 hours and 30 minutes in the morning, so he thought the best option would be to wait until 8 hours and only then go outside. The fragile girl was quite scared, asking him not to go out until 9 a.m. because it would be safer then. Fan Xiao, who was standing to the side before, approached them, suggesting that it was better not to waste time at all. He pointed out that there was no time limit specified in the task, which meant that there was probably something behind it. He reminded the others that they were in an abandoned lost city, so the opportunities to get food were incredibly low. Without supplies, their energy would start to gradually decrease. In addition, finding the space-time door might require a large amount of work. Therefore, Fan Xiao felt that their time was limited. The frail woman noticed that the guy's words made sense. She now realized that the difficulty of the game had increased significantly. The executive quickly agreed with Fan Xiao's opinion. He too felt that he shouldn't ignore the problem of food shortage and rather hurry up and start acting. Looking at one of the sisters, Fan Xiao noticed that there must be something special about the doll in the girl's hands. Since the doll had also been transported to the dungeon, it was even possible that the doll was an object. Looking at the backs of the people who had gotten into the dungeon with him, he couldn't put aside the thought that there might be evolved eating people among the 7 people. The hooded guy and the executive, who hid their distinctive features, were the ones who aroused Fan Xiao's greatest suspicion. When they came out of the hideout, they discovered a giant city with high-rise buildings. There were skulls and bones lying on the pavement all over the city. The executive frustratedly remarked that the area of the city was not small. Even if they used a systematic search, it would take a huge amount of time to search. A college student pointed out that Weibei is similar in style to cities on Earth, so there must be a train station in the city, and perhaps the space-time door they need to find is there. So the college student suggested that they go to the train station first and try their luck there. The executive was surprised that the college student believed in his theory so strongly, even though they didn't even know where the train station was in this city. Only now did the college student realize that there were flaws in his plan. Executive immediately paid attention to Fan Xiao after he voiced his opinion in the shelter. He immediately noticed that Fan Xiao's thinking was advanced and that his opinion could not be ignored. He approached Fan Xiao and inquired about the guy's name. After learning that the guy's name was Fan Jiangqiang, he asked him where they should go next. Fan Xiao had already thought it over, deciding that they needed a map first. Maps were usually located in the subway. The map at the entrance of the subway often had a part of the neighborhood on it. The hooded guy noticed that the map of each subway entrance and exit covered a very small area, and it would be too difficult to map the entire city piece by piece. However, Fan Xiao had an answer to this complaint as well, because they don't necessarily need to map the city piece by piece, because they just need to know how to get to certain places. The executive agreed to this plan since they had no other options. The college student was enthusiastic and immediately decided to go there. A middle-aged man approached the high school girls and asked them to follow him as he would protect them, but the older sister had nothing but contempt for the man and told him to move away from them. Half an hour later, they managed to find the entrance to the subway. Looking inside without going down into the subway, they noticed that it was incredibly dark. Besides, they didn't encounter any monsters outside, so perhaps they were hiding downstairs. Fan Xiao took out matches and lit one. Executive didn't understand where the guy found everything he needed. Fan Xiao only noticed that he had picked up everything while they were walking. Suddenly, a torch appeared in the guy's hand, which he lit. However, in the same second, the executive told the guy not to go downstairs yet. The executive heard from the breath emitted from the subway that there were 4 monsters downstairs. The college student was all ablaze with enthusiasm, noting that executive must have the talent of sharp hearing. Executive didn't realize what talent the college student was telling him about. The college student was surprised that the executive didn't know about the talents because he thought that every beta player was given talents to develop. Executive was surprised that everyone else had talents. Fan Xiao, who wasn't paying attention to the talent talk, asked what kind of animals Executive was hunting. Executive didn't deny and admitted that, like everyone else knew, Evolved had a strong desire for hunting. He had put up with it for 2 weeks and was literally at his limit, so he bought a dog. Taking off his hat, the executive admitted that after the so-called hunt, he gained the hearing and sense of smell of a dog. He even grew dog ears on his head. The college student was thrilled to see Executive's dog ears. He was also happy that he was lucky because he couldn't tolerate more than 4 days, but on the 4th day he became a beta player and his hunger was greatly reduced. The college student was too positive. He even decided that the hunger problem would disappear as soon as he became a player. Fan Xiao approached the executive to inquire about what it was like for him to eat a dog. The executive couldn't understand why Fan Xiao was asking him that. Fan Xiao decided to press the man, walked closer to him, and asked him if he had accidentally tasted human meat while trying to satisfy his appetite. The executive recoiled, frightened from him. He couldn't find words after what he had heard. He didn't understand how the guy could even come up with such a wild thought. Fan Xiao decided that the man was not lying to him, unless he was a great actor who could easily mislead him. The guy decided to put it down to a joke, but he also pointed out that humans were also animals, so perhaps there were cannibals among the evolved. The college student admitted that the guy scared him, because he thought there was actually a cannibal among them. The hooded guy asked the others to stop fooling around because they had to move on and go down to the subway. The frail woman was afraid to go to the subway because there were monsters there. Fan Xiao remarks that they should continue as there was not much point in them looking for another place. After exploring the surface for so long, they didn't notice any monsters, but 4 monsters appeared in the subway at once. If monsters made a habit of avoiding the sun and hibernating in the shadows, then the number of monsters in the subway should have been significant. Executive was in agreement with Fan Xiao, thinking that they would have to go down to the subway after all. However, the woman was too scared, so her legs wouldn't obey her and she fell down. She was afraid to go down to the subway. The middle-aged man also didn't understand why they should go where the monsters were. The hooded guy asked them to keep their voices down. He suggested they try to enter the other entrance leading to the subway. The college student thought it was a brilliant idea because maybe the other entrance didn't have monsters. However, Fan Xiao decided not to listen to them, starting his descent into the subway. He assumed that if he encountered danger in the subway, he would try out his A-rank talent in battle. After he started to descend into the subway, sisters and executive caught up with him. They decided to go along with him. Elder sister wanted to personally confirm the existence of the map. Fan Xiao was fine with this decision, even praising the girl. He informed the others that he had a good memory, so once they found the map, he would memorize the map and give it to them. The younger sister was startled when she saw the monster in front of them. Because of her screaming, the others also looked at the monster. However, as indicated, the monster was sleeping, so they tried not to make much noise so as not to wake up the monster. After finding the monster, they tried to go around it by huddling against the edge of the wall. Just at this moment, Fan Xiao noticed something. He informed the others that there was no need for them to go deeper into the subway since he had already found the map. Standing beside the map, Fan Xiao began to look at it. He was surprised that the map showed the entirety of Weibei City. Soon they left the subway, going up to the surface. The girl asked if the guy had really memorized the map after looking at it for about a minute. The guy admitted that he actually had an unconscious memory. After returning from the subway, he began to redraw the map of the city he had seen on the subway. The girl was shocked because she herself didn't remember much. But what the guy drew was exactly the same as what she had memorized. Just at that moment, the others returned to the subway station. The college student was once that everyone else was fine. However, the older sister wasn't willing to leave things like that. She stated that everyone needed to work together, helping each other, for the sake of completing the dungeon's task. The others had retreated as soon as they encountered danger, so she felt that the others had no place on the team. The middle-aged man was outraged. He stated that he didn't go down to the subway because he felt it was dangerous, so he thought that was a sufficient excuse. The girl, on the other hand, did not have enough excuses for the man, so she thought that since the man did not go down to the subway, he did not need a map of the city. The middle-aged man thought that he had gained the support of the others, so he thought that the others also disagreed like her. However, the hooded guy stepped forward and apologized that he had done wrong earlier, and even promised to fully cooperate in solving their common problem. The frail woman also apologized for being so scared that she couldn't go with the others. The college student also apologized for his cowardice as he had not encountered something like this before, but he promised to fully cooperate in the future. The older sister inquired if the middle-aged man had anything to say. In the end, he accepted defeat and apologized, although deep down he harbored a grudge and was going to straighten out the girl in the future. Fan Xiao finished drawing the map and told the others to stop making a fuss, because it wasn't even clear yet if they would be able to get out of the city alive. He had 2 maps, so he suggested splitting into groups. The college student was scared when he heard that they had to split up, because in horror movies, when people split up, they were bound to die. Fan Xiao didn't pay attention to his words. He said that there were 3 subway stations in Weibei, so it was pointless for everyone to go to each one together, and it would be more efficient to split into 3 groups. The college student didn't understand how they should split up. The sisters decided to go look around the East Station. The middle-aged man also noticed that he was interested in the East Station. The girl, on the other hand, told him to go elsewhere. The man was thrilled because he was going where he wanted to go, and the girl wasn't deciding anything. Things quickly escalated into an argument. The executive did not stand by and asked what the man was up to. The man stated that he just wanted to go to the station he wanted to go to. However, his plans were not destined to come true, as Fan Xiao stated that in that case, he would also go to the east with them. The man was even a bit startled as he tried to understand what the guy wanted to do with such a move. Fan Xiao stated that their group didn't need the map since he had memorized everything, so the other 2 teams would each take a map. Since the guy went with the girls and the man, executive figured there shouldn't be a problem on that team. The executive noted that since he and the hooded guy were the most senior, they should each lead the remaining squads. The hooded guy was going to head north. A frail woman decided to join the hooded guy. With executive also decided to go a college student, he wanted to show himself from the best side in the search work. The man does not worry at all about the fact that all his rotten gut is visible to everyone else, and it is literally written on his forehead what he is up to. Which teams will be able to come back as a full team? Which team will have someone eaten? The 2 sisters, Fan Xiao and the middle-aged man, headed out to inspect the eastern station. Looking at the girls' backs, the middle-aged man was extremely dissatisfied with the situation. He had even already started to imagine his perverted fantasies of the girls apologizing to him soon. He was ecstatic, fantasizing about it, because he was going to do such a thing in reality. He wanted the girls, who had previously behaved so brazenly in front of him, to become submissive to him afterward. Fan Xiao suddenly approached him and snapped him out of his fantasy. He put his hand on the man's shoulder and asked what the man was thinking about. Fan Xiao immediately noticed that both sisters must be very attractive and seductive. The man was even afraid that it was as if Fan Xiao had read his mind. so he pretended not to understand what Fan Xiao was saying. The guy is not that stupid, so he immediately told the man not to pretend. Fan Xiao noticed that the girls were so young, and the man probably wants to eat them. Seeing Fan Xiao's behavior, the man got excited that the guy was also eating people. In the end, Fan Xiao happily admitted that he had to pretend when surrounded by people, but now no one would be able to ambush him. He even said that with his uncontrollable appetite, he could not take it anymore. Naturally, everything he said was a lie. The man was glad to meet someone as evolved as himself. He admitted that if he hadn't held back, he would have pounced on the girls long ago. The mere thought of it made him angry. He didn't understand why his appetite hadn't waned after becoming a beta player, unlike those who weren't like him and Guy. The man was angry that others had talents, and those like him had nothing of the sort. Even the hard-earned talents of animals were gone after he decided to eat the man. The only improvement after he decided to eat a human was an increase in size. He was even sad to think what would happen if that wasn't there as well. Fan Xiao was only keeping the conversation going. Because the man was so chatty, Fan Xiao was able to find out that evolved cannibals surpassed ordinary evolved in physical terms. Fan Xiao decided to ask the man how many animal powers he had acquired. He confessed that he had gained 5 abilities but lost all of them. The man was very surprised to hear about 5 abilities. He thought that the maximum he could get was 3. In the past, he had eaten a cat and a dog, and then he ate a pig. Because of that, the mutation happened too fast, so he almost lost his mind. So he started attacking people. That's why the man was so much surprised and couldn't even believe that the guy had eaten 5 kinds of animals. Suddenly, the older sister abruptly turned around to them and wondered what they were talking about. She was shocked that they ate humans, and the younger sister was scared because of what she heard. Fan Xiao didn't fight back, instead suggesting that the man take 1 girl each. He reported that he liked the older one, so he asked the man to keep her for him. The man immediately agreed, but asked that the guy take his time eating her. At the same moment, the man swelled up like the Hulk, turning into a mountain of muscle. Drool flowed from his mouth as he stated that he wanted to have fun with the girls first. The giant-sized man said that if the girls cooperated, they would be less likely to get hurt. The girl asked the others to think carefully, for if they pounced on them, they would not be able to explain themselves to the others when they return to the shelter. For then they will be surrounded and will not be able to get good results. The man hesitated, not knowing what to do after the girl's words. However, Fan Xiao asked the man not to think about it, because after they dealt with the girls, they would just blame it on the monsters. He even came up with a plan that they would tell the others that they had accidentally woken up a monster during their search and it had dragged them away. Fan Xiao reminded the others that they were all complete strangers to each other. Therefore, he didn't understand why the man suddenly thought that the others would attack them because of the 2 dead girls. The guy thought even the very thought of that was incredibly ridiculous. The man was delighted, thinking the guy was incredibly smart. The girl asked her younger sister Baiji to run and call someone for help while she held the others back. Fan Xiao was originally right that the doll in the girl's hands was definitely not simple. The girl immediately used the doll to attack the man. The man was even surprised and thought the girl was cheeky because she somehow thought that she could hold them off. He tried to attack the doll, but it turned out that the girl could control the doll and the doll dodged the man's blow. The doll then delivered a kick to the man's left eye, splitting his eyebrow. Baiji was too scared and did not quite know what to do. However, her sister told her to run again and bring someone to help her. After hitting the doll like that, the man became furious and tore the doll apart in a rage. He began to insult the girl, stating that she would still regret coming into the world. The girl did not at all expect her doll to be dealt with so easily, but at the same moment the man grabbed her by the throat with his hand. He lifted the girl above his head, telling the girl to watch him deal with them. However, at that moment, someone stabbed him in the back with a thin iron bar. The man only had time to turn around to see that he had been pierced by Fan Xiao's iron rod. At the same moment, the man fell to the pavement and died, and the girl also fell to the pavement. She tried to cough up after the man's grip. Her younger sister immediately ran over to her, worried for her. At the same moment, the game reported that player Seal had destroyed player King of the World. According to the game rules, a Seal player could inherit King of the World items. The game then began retrieving and inheriting items. Moments later, the game reported that the King of the World player had no items, so the inheritance failed. Fan Xiao disappointedly complained that the man didn't have any items. The girl was surprised that Fang Xiao appeared not to be an ally of the man, and that he seemed to be just pulling information out of the man. He even praised the girl that her thinking had changed rather quickly. She wondered when Fan Xiao had gotten suspicious about who the man really was. Baiji didn't understand why her sister started a conversation with such a topic. She thought that acting any other way would scare the cannibal away, and then there would be no way to sneak up on him unnoticed as the guy had done. Fan Xiao praised Baiji, reminding them that he did not know the number of players who were cannibals, so he had to act blindly. The guy admitted that he immediately realized that the cannibals wouldn't miss such a chance to start a fire. He even explained that before he exposed the man, the girls were also under suspicion. Baiji couldn't believe what she had just heard, and she felt sick just at the thought that someone could be a cannibal. After this conversation, the girl decided to formally introduce herself. Her name was Lu Xining, and her younger sister's name was Lu Baiji. The guy, however, introduced himself again as Fan Jiangqiang, which means standard of strength, so the girl, realizing that he didn't give his real name, decided that the guy might as well not give a name. Xining wondered if the guy had originally suggested splitting into teams because he wanted to create new opportunities for players who were cannibals to make a mistake. Fan Xiao only pointed out that if they hadn't split into teams, then the cannibals wouldn't have shown their fangs then. He felt that it would do no one any good to have a time bomb hidden in a team, because such an option was a common-sense defense against the bandits. Baiji was surprised to realize that the guy was implying that besides the man among the players, there might be other players who are cannibals. The first thing Fan Xiao wanted to do was to head in the direction of the hooded guy and the fragile woman. The girls were surprised that the guy called the other players by the signs, hooded guy and fragile woman. He admitted that he suspected that either or both of them might be cannibals. Xining immediately wondered which of them he suspected more. He only had a hunch, but he had yet to confirm everything. Soon they heard screams and then saw the fragile woman and the hooded guy running towards them. They were screaming and calling for help, because each one of them had been attacked by a cannibal. Fan Xiao was even glad that they had arrived in time. The hooded guy and the fragile woman pointed fingers at each other, claiming the other party was a cannibal. Fan Xiao thought that since they called each other cannibals, they should provide some evidence. The hooded guy immediately showed his right hand, reporting that the woman wanted to eat him and bit a piece of flesh off of him. The fragile woman responded by showing her right hand and reporting that the guy was actually a monster and that he had bitten her flesh off. Xining decided that in this situation, the monster bit his own hand the moment he saw them in order to wound himself. Baiji couldn't understand how one could tell the difference between a cannibal and an ordinary person. Fan Xiao thought that since there was a wound on both of them, they would have to rely on intuition. Xining agreed with him, wanting to listen to what the guy was saying. Baiji, on the other hand, felt that he and his sister were being too hasty in this choice. In the end, the guy decided to trust the fragile woman. The hooded guy asked him not to trust the woman because the woman is actually lying and is a monster. Fan Xiao asked the hooded guy to shut up because he can't tell the difference between which one is human. Therefore, he decided that the woman was incredibly beautiful, which meant the hooded guy was after her. The frail woman was happy that the guy believed her, and she even hugged him. Fan Xiao asked the fragile woman not to be afraid of anything because he was on her side. Her face even turned red, and she wanted to inform that she was not some kind of cannibal. However, she was not allowed to finish her words, as Xining pierced her from behind with an iron pipe, and Fan Xiao also pierced her left leg with an iron pipe. The fragile woman was furious that all this time the guy was playing with her. Lu Xining was even surprised that the guy trusted her so much, and after all, she might have just not understood his plan. However, Fan Xiao reminded her that they had already had the experience of fighting a man. So even if he didn't say anything, he was sure that the girl would understand the true purpose of his choice. Xining was tense as she realized that the guy in front of her was not only smart, but also incredibly brave. He didn't even give her any sign, as he believed that she would somehow understand his scheme and do as he wanted. After they had talked enough, Fan Xiao asked the monster to reveal its true form. The fragile woman was not fragile at all now. She had grown to an incredible size, and her entire body was made up of muscles. She threatened to torture everyone to death and then eat them. Fan Xiao immediately noticed that the woman looked much stronger than the man, so he assumed that the woman had eaten another evolved. So he almost instantly told the others to run away in the direction pointed. The woman wasn't about to let go so easily, attacking with her powerful body and trying to lift the asphalt the others were running on. Her efforts caused untold destruction in the city. Xining wondered to Fan Xiao if he had any plan or if they would have to hide somewhere. However, the guy told her not to worry because reinforcements would be arriving soon. Suddenly, Fan Xiao abruptly slowed down and stopped, smiling, for they had all come running to the right place. He stated that the woman had screamed so loudly over and over again that she had completely forgotten to muffle her voice. He even admired the woman's courage. The guy immediately asked the woman if this place looked familiar to her. She only yelled when she realized where she was going, but immediately the guy put his index finger to his mouth, indicating that she should be quieter. Her roar caused monsters to leap out of the subway station, pouncing on the woman and starting to bite her. The woman didn't stop and continued screaming. Now Xining understood why the guy had attacked the woman's leg. She realized that the guy wanted to deprive the woman of her mobility and that the monsters were part of his plan. Fan Xiao admitted that since they had started the battle, such a noise could easily disturb the monsters. And since the monsters were attacking everyone, from this information, the guy realized that the monsters would first attack those who were running slowly. Now all he had to do was wait, watching the fight to reveal the winner between the monsters and the woman. Eventually, he grew tired of waiting, deciding it was time to call it a day. He used his Angel of Slaughter talent. At the same moment, an angel that looked more like a demon appeared in front of him. She was happy that she had been summoned, immediately inquiring about what she had to do. There was no limit to her happiness when she saw the monsters and the monstrified woman. Fan Xiao was also happy to finally put his talent to the test. He ordered Angel of Slaughter to attack the woman. After receiving the order, Angel rushed out with a murderous aura towards the monstrified woman. With just a few swings, Angel instantly destroyed all the monsters that were attacking the woman. Before the monstrified woman could even realize anything, her body had already fallen apart. Xining, Baiji, and the hooded guy were incredibly dumbfounded, not fully understanding what had just happened. The two monsters managed to rush past Angel, and they tried to immediately pounce on the guy. However, at the same moment Angel appeared behind them. She did not want to let them go, because she wanted to play with her toys. In the end, she easily disposed of the pathetic monsters. At the same moment, the game reported that player Seal had destroyed player Little Fairy. According to the game rules, player Seal could inherit Little Fairy's items. The game then began retrieving and inheriting items. Moments later, the game reported that the Little Fairy player had no items, so the Seal player inherited nothing. The guy was disappointed that the second time around he didn't get anything. Angel, meanwhile, kept on being happy. Angel hugged the guy, stating that she still wanted to play. However, Fan Xiao immediately noticed that his physical strength hadn't changed, but spiritually he was very tired. So he realized that Angel of Slaughter was expending spiritual power. Therefore, without thinking for a single second, he told Angel of Slaughter to go back. The still surprised Xining approached the guy and was the first to ask the guy if it was his talent. Fan Xiao only sadly noted that he had awakened a rather cruel talent. He realized that the mental strength of those present was too weak, so they hadn't seen Angel of Slaughter, which was why they looked so shocked. Fan Xiao noticed that the wound on the hooded guy's arm had healed and immediately asked who had such a talent. Baiji confessed that she had a C-rank healing talent. If there are wounds, internal injuries, illnesses, poisoning, or viral diseases, she could heal anyone from all of these thanks to this talent. She could heal a mortal wound in just a few seconds. Fan Xiao immediately inquired if Xining's talent was controlling dolls. Xining didn't hide anything either, informing that she had the talent of an E-ranked puppeteer. She was unfortunate that the puppet she had brought with her to this dungeon had been destroyed, and now she didn't realize if she could find something similar in this city that could be used as a puppet. He wondered if the girl had brought any other items besides the doll. As it turned out, Xining was only able to bring the doll to this dungeon as the game recognized the doll as part of her body. After the talent questions were over, Xining asked the guy what they should do next and if they should continue looking for the station. However, contrary to the original plan, Fan Xiao decided that they needed to meet the others first. In addition, he calmly admitted that he already knew where the space-time door was. The guy in the hood never told me anything about himself, including his talents, if he has any. What if he is actually a cannibal that has never been revealed yet? Fan Xiao feels at home in this dungeon. In addition, while the girls got E-rank and C-rank talents, he got A-rank talent. Fan Xiao's fun adventure is just a matter of watching because wherever he goes, he has good luck. And that's all for today. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you would like to see a sequel, please like, subscribe to the channel, and leave your wishes in the comments. You can also subscribe to Telegram to know about new videos. Bye everybody.